Celtic are through to the last four of the Scottish Cup. We got the job done and played some really good football today in a 2-0 victory over Hibs, who were on a 15-game unbeaten run going into it. So good stuff from Celtic. We've got Euan and Asim on today. We'll hear from you two shortly. First of all, though, let's begin, sadly, with this man.
Hi everyone, Hamish. I know what you're all going to say. Something to give out. That's a funny looking Celtic Park in the background. Or why didn't you record when Glasgow admittedly had a beautiful sunset this evening? Very quickly, Celtic Park was mauled with the amount of Hibs and Celtic fans all coming out at the same time. It would have been too disruptive. Excuses, more coming in, and it was very busy in Glasgow tonight as well. It was mobbed when I tried to do two videos around about George Square. You're getting it in the kitchen. Look, I've made peace with it. You guys have to as well, alright? Celtic 2, Hibs 0, Brendan's 20th win out of 20 in the Scottish Cup. It was a spot on team and a very comfortable win, and generally a decent performance. We created more than enough chances to win the game by a bigger margin, to be honest with you. Hibs had been hyped up, deservedly so, 3 months without a defeat, but they offered nothing. I think only, Engels dropped off with a throw-in the first half. Schmeichel had to make a decent save, but I felt in general Hibs were really poor and offered next to nothing. And as we said in the video earlier in the week, really burst our bubble. It was such a composed performance from the team. I think we benefited from Rocky Bashiri switching off for both goals to Idah and also to Maeda for the opener. The best, I thought Hibs' best player was our goalie. He made some outstanding saves from Hatate, Maeda, when he took it round him, and I think there was a couple more in the second half as well, maybe one from Jota, but the one for Hatate in the first half was a screaming of a save. What a strike. I thought Hatate had a very good game. Off the ball, so frustrating, but on the ball, so many killer passes, and honestly, it's no exaggeration, we could have won that today by maybe 4 or 5 if it wasn't for Hibs goalkeeper. I thought my man in match right enough, ironically enough, despite the fact that the defence generally had nothing to do. They had to be switched on for the majority of the game. And I thought Cameron Carter-Vickers just never put a foot wrong. Brilliant performance. And I've sent over a couple of files as well, Hamish, that you can use. But it was so amazing to see all of Celtic Park ringing out with the Maeda tune. Those wonderful lyrics where it is just one, where it's Maeda at the end. I don't know who the actual tune is. Was it a Guinness advert one? I don't know, but it's very catchy and it's one of the better ones in modern times for footballers. But yeah, honestly, I thought Celtic were could have been more clinical today, but they were very composed and it was a comfortable enough win. And really, even at 0-0 and when it was approaching 0-0 at half time, there was no panic. We still kept playing a football, cut open Hibs several times. And after we made it 1-0, there was really no looking back. I think Hibs maybe had a decent spell for maybe 10-15 minutes or so. And then Luke McCown came on, changed it. He was excellent. Really, really good performance from him. I think there was talk of the Scotland squad maybe getting announced this week, and McCown could be a shout for a call-up. I thought he was excellent when he came on today, and that's exactly why we bought him, to make a difference in those types of matches. But yeah, that's all I'll say here. I know that you're wanting to go on with, I think, is it Asim and Euan you've got on? So I'll let you crack on with them. Again, next week, we'll get one for Celtic Park, not in the kitchen. Use my excuses up, and let's just get on with it. Well done to Celtic and the team, and we move on to Hampden.
Yes, we do. Great stuff, Stevie. I love the fact he's still got his jacket on. Like, he's literally just come in for the game and not even taking his jacket off. He's just that keen to chat. And he obviously got a mention of Guinness in there as well. Is that what the song's from, guys?
It's a song by the Champs called Tequila. It's from 1958. I haven't just Googled that. I absolutely know off the top of my head. So
this is why Euan's a must on the show, that knowledge.
Yeah, Must is doing a lot of work there.
Yeah, it's good to have you on, Euan. How's things?
Oh, good, man. You can tell from the bags under my eyes. I'm very well rested. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Today was a really, really lovely day, actually. yeah, it was nice. It was sunny in Glasgow, which never ever happens. So it felt like everyone was in a good mood, apart from the Hibs fans at the end. But that's that's by the by. It was nice. It was a good day. Cannot complain.
Is that the background you've got, Asim? Is that from today?
It was, yeah. We kind of just hung about at the end. I was with my nephews today, so we managed to catch a really nice sunset from our seat. Yeah, I agree with you, and it was a nice day out. The weather made such a difference. We've been going to so many games, probably you in the last couple of months. So many games at Celtic Park, and it's been absolutely Baltic. So it was nice to just go without having to wear layers upon layers today. And I think the fact that Hibs brought so many fans, I thought that was brilliant to see, and just added to the big game feel at the start. The atmosphere was brilliant, and you'd love to see more of that. Obviously not to that number. I know the level of numbers, but even if it's just 2 or 3 thousand away fans, it makes such a difference. Obviously they've brought seven, but really added to the sense of occasion, I felt, at the start of the game.
So, I was going to ask what was that like today? Because it is. I know we're probably in danger of talking too much about it, and I've done it all week, and it was what I was most looking forward to about this game, was the fact you had the big away support, because I think that just enhances the atmosphere. So how was the experience, Euan, inside the stadium?
It was good. I'm loath to give too much praise to other teams in our league, but I think the Hibs support is actually pretty good. And the fact that they sold out their 7,000 seat allocation at Celtic Parks, it's impressive. No matter how you look at it, it's impressive. I thought they actually were a credit. This is going to sound incredibly patronising, I realise that, but they were a credit to the team today. I thought they kept the noise up even after the. How many other cliches do you think I can drop within this? It was the game of two halves, etc. They were good. They were noisy the whole time. A lot of their songs feel like they're copied from us, but then
I know I was listening to that. Yeah.
I don't know which of them. I'm looking at their lineup from today. I don't know who. You could maybe get the tequila one for Triantis. I don't know. But, yeah, no, it was pretty good. But I'm loath to. I kind of prefer when we've got massive games and it's just like the way team have got like a tiny wee enclosure. But I'm quite a cruel individual, so I'm not the best person to ask, to be honest.
Did you enjoy it, Asim?
Yeah, I'm actually the opposite, you, and I quite enjoy it, because I'll be honest.
You're a nicer person,
it had all the hallmarks of like a big game, in terms of like the full house, the massive away allocation, a really nice day, something on the line. A lot of the league games we've had recently at Celtic Park, the league's been done for a bit, so it just felt like a bit more jeopardy today. I thought the game itself, obviously we'll delve into, didn't live up to maybe the hype. I thought both teams weren't at their best. I thought Hibs were actually pretty disappointing, given the form and hype that there's been around them. But I thought their fans, I thought the game started really well, with a good energy and a good atmosphere. But then it kind of got a bit scrappy and a bit flatter. But yeah, their fans stayed to the end and applauded. But I thought ultimately, obviously, we'll go on to discuss the game now, but we thoroughly deserved the win, and that's without even being near our best, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought Celtic were pretty good. Certainly in the first half, I thought we started the game well. Stevie talking about Hibs not offering much, and they didn't really, but I wonder how much of that was us not allowing Hibs to offer anything in the game. Like, I just thought when they had the ball, our hunger to win the ball back, not even just the normal guys you talk about, like Daizen, Maeda and Callum McGregor, who were both excellent today, but guys like Jeffrey Schlupp, in that first half, Engels, Hatate, really trying to win the ball back when we lost it, and just Hibs were unable to deal with that at all. And I thought you really saw the benefits of having had a full week to prepare for this game. So, it's an interesting one, because I was expecting probably a bit of a tougher game. I think the only thing that, and this is an obvious thing to say, the only thing that kind of made it a close game was the scoreline. I thought, we were totally dominant, but it was 0-0 up until just before half time, and you were kind of looking at it going, okay, we've been totally dominant here, but we could do with the goal, because it's a cup game and you never know what could happen. And the same with the having a 1-0 lead up until very late on. It never really felt like Hibs were going to do anything. They didn't create anything at all in the second half, nothing. But you're always just thinking, a team in a 15-game unbeaten run, cup tie, big away support, it could only take one chance, one slack bit of play. And there were a couple of slack bits of play from us in the second half, but I thought Celtic were really good actually. I thought in the first half especially the performance was good. You and we started the game quite fast, I thought.
Yeah. Created some really good opportunities. Obviously, we'll probably talk more about Daizen Maeda, but I thought he was excellent from the start today. And it was really nice seeing a much fitter. I know Jota's been excellent since he came back, but you can see him regaining his match fitness with each start he gets. And you can see him going kind of almost at full flow today. It was really exciting, like watching him go at defenders. I love wingers. I've always loved wingers. Even guys like Koki Mizuno and like Ross Wallace, I've always just loved like even like bang average players. If they're wingers, I automatically like them more. So seeing Jota going at Hibs in that first half gave their back three real problems. But yeah, the first half I thought we were really good. I think we were quite unlucky not to score earlier. Maeda gets his very well deserved goal. We take a really good feeling into the half. And then again, we'll probably come on to it later on, but I think that was probably when we were at our best, barring maybe the last 5 minutes, which I found quite strange. It was quite flat coming out the second half, to the extent where about like 60th, 70th minute, like my dad turned and said, I think the job's done now. I think they've not got out of second gear. And I've said, well, they're going to equalise now that you've said that. So the rest of the game, I was just like, exactly what you said, Hamish. Like I thought they'd maybe nab a late one. Like it seemed like it was kind of predetermined, but yeah, going back to the first half, really good. I thought Engels and Haddadi, they linked up really well again. I think that, I mean, obviously, that team sheet kind of writes itself at this point, but that sort of trifecta of McGregor, Haddadi, and Engels is looking stronger with each game. And Haddadi, I know he can be frustrating at times, but he was picking up some absolutely fantastic passes in the first half, and I thought him and Schlupp actually were a really good combination on the left side of the pitch. You can see them trying to work out really good passing angles, and I think Schlupp gets a really good ball into the kind of. Is it him that makes the pass to Kuhn and then Kuhn makes a shot? Yeah, you can see Hattati and Schlupp are kind of rotating, like who wants to go wide and get a cross in. I think that's a really exciting development for the rest of the season. Even if barring the cup there isn't a lot of jeopardy and they can play with a bit more freedom. I thought it was really cool to watch.
I just think Schlupp is brilliant. I really like him, and I just thought again, especially in the first half, I thought he had a great game. Nicholas Kuhn was the one for me, guys, in the first half, and he's been a little bit quieter in recent months, all up to the point where people were probably looking, and some people were suggesting Yang could start the game, and I just thought Kuhn in that first half was electric. Virtually everything we did good came through Kuhn, and then I thought second half it was kind of flipped into Jota was the one. Not to say that Jota was bad in the first half and Kuhn was bad in the second half, but I just thought our kind of our threat switched sides. But who stood out for you in the first half, Asim?
Yeah, I agree with you on the Schlupp. I thought he's looking more and more assured every game. So really enjoying what he's bringing to the team. He's quite powerful down that left side, and yeah, defensively as well, totally comfortable. And Kuhn was much more like himself. I felt like every time he got the ball, you were kind of waiting for something to happen again. And I thought he was a constant threat. I think they switched a couple of times, him and Jota, during the first half as well, which was good to see. I think that is our most potent front three at the moment, and it's the front three I'd expect to see start next week as well. It's probably one of those games where I'll probably need to watch back because I might be going against the grain here, but I thought we were as good as we needed to be. I thought I just felt like we didn't get out of second gear because we didn't need to. And I agree, maybe it's probably one of those on reflection. It's how well we controlled the game that Hibs offered little to no threat at all. There was no point in the second half where I felt they're going to score here. And I guess that is a credit to how we controlled the game without, creating loads of chances ourselves. We managed the game pretty well. So I think credit goes to the manager, and I think the manager said afterwards as well he felt like that was more like the real Celtic compared to the last game against Hibs. So yeah, it's probably one of those where on reflection, look, the job was to get into the hat against a team that had gone 15 games unbeaten, had beat us a couple of weeks ago, so thoroughly professional. And yeah, the job was, like you say, the fact that we limited a team on form to such little chances. I think credit. I thought the defence was brilliant. Carter Vickers actually as well stood out to me. I thought he absolutely bossed their front man. They got no joy at all from our defence. So I think the defence was probably the kind of shining light in terms of the overall But I thought we started the game well, and Jota, Kuhn, and Maeda just constantly buzzing around, just giving them trouble all first half.
Let's jump on
Yeah,
that quickly. Just to kind of jump on what Asim was saying. I'm looking at the stats here because I'm the specky one, so people assume I'm really into stats. But they only got one shot on goal, and that's a team, as you say, with an unbeaten run.
That was from a bloody throw-in that they moved 40 yards up the line.
Exactly, yeah. I thought our back four were excellent today. Just to reinforce what you were saying, Asim, I thought they were fantastic. I thought CCV looked. He just seems to get more comfortable with each game that he plays, and I mean that in a good way. He's just so composed, and he takes his time in the ball, and he makes it look really, really easy. And I thought Alistair Johnson went under the radar today, but I thought he had defensively had a really good game. Maybe not his best day going forward, especially compared to what we've seen from him earlier in the season when he was having that sort of prolific spell and he was laying a lot of goals on. Defensively, though, I thought he was excellent. And yeah, I mean, I just again want to give credit to the back four who were outstanding today.
I mean, I think it's an interesting one how maybe, I don't know, maybe you go into games sometimes expecting to see Celtic scoring 4 and 5, Asim, and we've seen that the majority of this season. We didn't see that today. I think you're right. Like we've seen better performances. I just thought it was controlled, and I just thought we completely nullified Hibs today. They did nothing, and this is a team that have 15 games unbeaten.
I think you're right. I think that might play a part into it, is that what you go in expecting.
Yeah.
Because you spoke about it. I think you spoke about it on the channel as well, about how we reacted to the 2-2 Aberdeen game at Celtic Park, and then we absolutely blew them away at Hampden, a couple of weeks later. And I think obviously with the week off as well, I kind of just thought we were going to just blow them away in terms of energy, pace, playing really quick. But it was quite the opposite. I thought we were quite slow at times, but it was just measured. It was controlled. And I think it almost seemed like that was the tactic and the plan from Rodgers, because he didn't come out and say, "Oh, I felt we were slow at times." So it seems like that was the actual plan. But yeah, you probably go into it with the big game feel and thought maybe we will blow them away, and that's maybe a unrealistic expectation. I do feel we will probably need to improve next week, because I don't think Rangers will be as toothless as Hibs were. Like I say, I was quite disappointed with Hibs. But it was a lot of that was probably down to how measured we are. I think David Gray said in his interview afterwards that a lot of that was just down to Celtic not allowing Hibs to really play their best either.
Like you look at what Hibs' strengths are, and it's pace really, and they're good at exploiting pace. A bit like ourselves, to be honest, and we just didn't give them any real opportunities today, other than that one early on in the game. And I think Boyle had a one in the second half where he got through, and I think Carter Vickers did well. But maybe if we'd have been quite frantic and all out like we maybe normally would have allowed them a bit of space, and it would have turned into a bit of a basketball type cup tie, and especially with a big support there. I just felt and I think this is quite an important thing, we gave their support nothing to latch onto at all. Like Hibs didn't have a spell in that game at all. I know Stevie mentioned they maybe had a few corners in a row, and you could hear the fans a little bit, but we really gave them nothing in that game. I just thought it was a great, measured display from Celtic today, but we played some really good stuff as well. I mean, first half I've got written down, McGregor has a shot first couple of minutes that I think is a brilliant save from the goalkeeper, who also made an incredible save from Hatate at the end of the middle of the first half. That was an outstanding save. But was he the same guy that basically threw one into his net at the Easter Road game with the Maeda one? So I'm like, is this guy a good goalkeeper that just has the odd mistake in him? Second, we also had Daizen put one over the bar, didn't he, just before his goal?
Yeah.
It was a great pass from Hatate, that, but I guess it sums up Daizen at the moment, Euan, that he scored right after that. He didn't let it affect him.
Yeah, his mentality is fantastic. And talking of mentality, actually, I just kind of wanted to reflect on you talked about the Aberdeen game, and it seems like what Brendan Rodgers is really good at this season, certainly his coaching team are really good at this season, is if a team's given us any kind of bloody nose in the past, they get something of a doing next time round. Aberdeen caused us a lot of problems, and it seemed that the coaching staff were very, very focused on nullifying exactly what it is Aberdeen are good at, and then obviously you get that 6-0, and then we've beaten them convincingly since. I think we've put 11 past in the last two games. Whereas Hibs, gave us all sorts of problems, and you mentioned the pace. They didn't get a sniff today, and I think talking of mentality, it was only really when if in the rare moments that Celtic slipped up, that's when Hibs had their opportunities. It wasn't necessarily because of particularly useful play on their extent. And I know that's quite a harsh assessment of a team that's had such a good spell, but like Asim said, they didn't really offer anything today. I was a little disappointed by them myself. But to go back to the original point, I think Maeda kind of he exemplifies everything good mentally about this team at the moment. And you're right, he kept going, making really really good runs. There were a couple of times actually there were. And I don't want it to be a whole Brendan Rodgers press conference about this, but there were a couple of howls of disappointment, not because of passing back the way, but when Maeda made a really good run a couple of times and everyone else could see the pass was on, but obviously it's much easier when you're setting up the stands. But relentless, absolutely relentless. I love Daizen Maeda. I think he's everything good about Celtic at the moment, kind of encapsulated into this class B guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the one late on, wasn't it, when Hatate should have played it and for whatever reason didn't. Yeah. But again, maybe that just summed up today's approach rather than trying that. And it probably would have come off, but maybe just keep the ball measured.
I think it was by design rather than, just a poor kind of decision making or anything. It almost seemed like he kind of stopped and told everyone around him to calm down as well. I think it was every kind of pass we made, first half, second half, it was just with a view to keeping the ball and just keeping Hibs away from our danger. So yeah, I think at the time, obviously, I came away from it thinking, yep, job done. But I didn't think our passing at times was fully on it. But then it's one of those, upon reflection, I watched some of the pre-match stuff as well on Premier, and I think Neil Lennon and Scott Brown were very complimentary of our display in terms of how professional and measured it was. So yeah, I think you're right, Euan, as well. I think Rodgers is brilliant at that. Even I remember from his first spell, I think it might have been Inverness who were the first to take points off us in his first season. Mm-hmm. And he always referenced it, and he made sure that when we played them the next time, they were going to get it. And he's done that with Aberdeen. And I think there was no way we were not winning that game today after what happened 2 weeks ago. I was that confident, and you felt that when you're watching the game today that right, Rodgers is making sure we're getting to Hampden again, and it just speaks to his cup record is insane. Stevie said it. How many is it? 20?
20 from 20 in the Scottish Cup.
Scottish Cup. It's unbelievable. So yeah, we're off to Hampden again, and you'd take anyone in that draw. You just know that when Celtic get to Hampden, we've made it our second home, which it wasn't always the case 10 years ago.
Yes, we take bad results personally. And who have we got next Sunday, guys, and what happened the last time we played them? And actually, Brendan Rodgers referenced it after the game. I can't remember the exact quote, but he said Rangers stole our game. Was that it? He said after the game. So he's dialing things up.
I've not seen the actual press conference, but I just seen a clip or the quote, and I think that was the quote. Rangers stole our game last time, and I'm looking forward to that one already. So yeah, he took that one. He didn't take that one well in January, and none of the fans did either. As much as we were way ahead in the league, nobody was happy with the performance and how we went about it that day. And I think we're going to right a few wrongs next week.
Yeah, professional performance today. Just speaking of professional, everyone, today's match reaction has been created in collaboration with NordVPN, the fastest VPN on the planet. So don't miss your favourite content, even when travelling. Stay at home virtually and stay safe online with a single click. If you're after a VPN, then this is your time to strike. As a Celtic AM viewer or listener, you can get up to 72% off. Just click the link in the description. I think you're talking like £2.50 or something a month for some of their deals. So just click the link in the description to get started with NordVPN. Guys, what else from the second half? Maybe we weren't quite as fluent in the second half, Euan, but again, Hibs didn't create much. We had Schlupp had one just wide. We had Maeda at the back post for one that he should definitely have scored from a great Johnston pass. And then we got the second goal late on. It was Idah.
It was, and I had to put my hands up and say at times this season in very inconsequential group chats, I've been very critical of Idah at times, and it's a shame. He's a good player, and it's really nice to see him get on the end of chances like he did today. It's funny actually. The impact of Luke McCowan is something that Stevie mentioned, and initially I thought we kind of lost a bit of control in the midfield with McGregor coming off, and I don't know. I normally am really impressed with McCowan, and I was worried that I would have to come on tonight and slag him off a bit, but actually his improvement very rapidly. He was buzzing about, making really good passes. The way he got to the pass that he made, the ball that came, it wasn't the easiest in the world. The ball was fizzing at a fair pace, and he still managed to get a really good connection to it. And it's easy for Adam Idah to kind of finish that one off. We have to be in the right place at the right time. And I do feel sorry for Adam Idah in a lot of respects, because he had this massively kind of vaunted move over to Celtic after his incredibly successful loan spell, and you'd have thought after Kyogo leaving that he thought, oh well, I've sewn up my place in the starting 11, and then Daizen Maeda doing exactly what he does for Japan and what he did for Yokohama. He's been electric. So I do feel sorry for him, and he must think, from his perspective, there's a lot of pressure on him to take these 5-10 minute cameos and turn them into something. And to his credit, he did that today. So I'm really chuffed for him.
Yeah, it's good to see him coming on and getting his goal. I agree that, I thought McCowan was just a little bit slack, but generally our performance was a bit slack. I mean, Yang, who came on as well, we had a thing today at times in the second half, and I think Killian Sheridan mentioned it in the Celtic TV stuff, that we do something really well. Maeda did it as well when he back-heeled late on, but you do something really well and then just give it away. And Yang did that at one point late on in the game as well, but McCowan, to be fair, gets on the end of that and keeps the ball in as well. I don't know if Alan Muir was watching, or what he'd have been thinking, probably shouting to his wife, look there, that was out. Thankfully he wasn't on duty today and the goal stood.
I seen your video earlier in the week about Alan Muir. Like, it was just laughable, wasn't it? How hard he was trying to find an angle where the ball was out. But yeah, it's old news now. But yeah, there was some sloppy moments in the second half, but like I say, overall pretty comfortable. That's twice McGregor's been taken off, and we've brought on, and I don't mind seeing that. I think I like seeing Engels in that deeper role. I think he's comfortable in any position in the midfield. Just really assured in another just mature performance. Wasn't spectacular today, but he's just a comfortable starter for us in that midfield now. And yeah, McCowan, I think he's always, anytime I see McCowan, I'm always impressed in terms of he's lively, he's energetic, he likes to get on the ball, likes to make things happen. Sometimes he can be a bit slack, but I like players who come on and try and make an impact. So that was good to see. And yeah, we could have had a third as well at the end. Was it Maeda, like you say, when he rounded the keeper? Yeah, you thought that was going in. But happy for Idah, because I do, and he said in his interview after he hadn't scored for a while, I think maybe since Villa Park. So it's good. We just want you want everyone kind of firing. It's a test of his kind of mentality now, because you're right, Euan, he would have thought he's coming in, and when Kyogo's away, that he would be the main man, but right now you cannot argue with Maeda through the middle. It's he's far too lethal out there, and the one in the first half he did brilliantly. Maeda, didn't he? Took the ball down brilliantly for that one where he then put it over the bar, and I was like, oh, that's the Maeda of old. That's the kind of stuff he used to do, but we're so accustomed to now see him being so composed in front of the goal that it was almost a shock that he didn't put it in. But yeah, he was good, and he seemed happy again in the post-match interview, which is good to see.
His anticipation for that first goal, I thought, was brilliant. And again, I've spoken about this a fair bit. I think such an underrated part of his game is his ability to see where the ball's going to go. As I say, anticipation, getting on to things. So yeah, I don't know if we need to spend ages talking about Daizen Maeda, because I noticed like Premier Sports, when they got Brendan Rodgers on, spent like 4 or 5 minutes on Daizen Maeda, and I know it's an easy thing to do at the moment because he's playing out of his skin and he's brilliant, but I'm just a bit like, today was, I thought, a pretty good team effort, and I thought there was a number of players playing really well, but I guess it's easy, as I say. Big step towards the treble, guys. That's the headline. We're into the semi-final now. We've got Aberdeen, Hearts, or the winner of St Johnstone and Livingston. So one of those two is going to be at Hampden. If we get them, we'll have about 49,000 tickets, I think. They play on Monday evening. Do do you care, Euan, who we get?
I mean, first of all, I'm a little disappointed you didn't want to talk more about Daizen Maeda, because I do have a 700-page book coming out about his last couple of seasons. So this,
What's the title?
It's a work in progress. I haven't got that pattern ready yet. No, I do mind who we get, because I don't. Any chance I get to not watch Livingston play football under David Martindale is a blessing. So I hope we don't get Livy. I really don't. I mean, I like the sound of Aberdeen in the semi-final again. But honestly, I don't mind. I really, really don't mind who we get. I think, yeah, as long as we're not complacent, and as long as, because there have been a couple of difficult, over the last few years, there have been a couple of really quite ropey semi-finals. I remember the 1-0 against St Johnstone was quite a tense affair. See, now I've said that, nothing else comes to mind, but I still get the fear whenever
Kilmarnock. There was one against Kilmarnock. It was a 1-0.
2-0, I think, wasn't it? It was a late second goal, but it was that was tight as well. So, do you want I mean, you're assuming that if you draw Aberdeen or Hearts, you're assuming that the other one would beat St Johnstone or Livingston, probably. So, are you wanting Aberdeen then Hearts, Hearts then Aberdeen, or are you wanting a more? I'm saying more winnable. They're all very winnable for us. Does it matter at all, Asim?
Yeah, obviously Aberdeen and Hearts are a bit strong, like a fair bit stronger than St Johnstone and Livy. That's safe to say. So on paper, you'd be like, yeah, you'd want the winner of St Johnstone or Livy just to get an easier passage to the final. But I just think we're that strong domestically, and almost like you and saying, you want probably a tougher semi so that you're then geared up for the final as well, rather than if it was St Johnstone and Livy, you'd expect us to kind of get through that comfortably, and then you've got to the build up for the final. I wouldn't mind us just having another big game, a semi against Hearts, just to keep us focused and as you say, avoid any complacency. So yeah, look, not fussed either way, but I wouldn't mind the two of the bigger sides on the route to the final, and to a potential treble. But yeah, we're that strong right now. We're that kind of comfortable, and now with the week to week on the training pitch, this is where Brendan thrives, and he'll be making sure we get that treble.
You never want to get ahead of yourself at all, because we've seen Celtic lose enough cup games in the past, even last season, Kilmarnock, etc. But you do feel a sense of inevitability, don't you? Like, you do just feel like this team are going to be celebrating a treble in 5-6 weeks, maybe slightly longer than that, and you never take that for granted. The team still have to achieve stuff, but we're just so strong domestically that it's like you just kind of see it coming, don't you?
I mean, I've known you a few years now, Hamish. I don't think you could ever say at any point I've ever seemed like an assured kind of person to you. So I personally, I worry about every game we have. But so I don't know about inevitability, but I do agree that we're looking incredibly strong. This season's been an excellent, total leap in terms of the progress under Brendan Rodgers. I mean, yeah, the last, in fact, I'd argue especially since the turn of the year, some of our play has been absolutely outstanding. I think some good players have become excellent first team players in our team. Even on the fringes, we're seeing a lot of improvement for like say Yang, and McCarran is another player that's surprised everyone, I think. So yeah, you can't really. It's difficult to argue against Celtic romping to another title, to another treble. Sorry. So. Yeah, I get what you mean, but also I'm incredibly nervous watching football at any given time. So I don't want to put my neck on the line ever at all.
And added to that, Euan, as well, is obviously you don't want it to feel kind of, well, we've made it be normalised how often we're winning trebles, but it's a huge achievement to to go through all these kind of cup competitions where anything can happen. We've seen it this season, with whether it's ref decisions or sendings off. Anything can happen in a one-off game, which can make it a tough ask. Look at last season as well in the Aberdeen semi that went to penalties.
Yeah,
that could have gone either way, and that was when Aberdeen were a shambles, and we were romping to the league as well. So you don't want to get complacent, and I'm sure Rodgers and the players won't be. And even as fans, as much as we're talking about it, Hamish, and saying it seems inevitable, but you don't want to get into that where you still want to feel that buzz and that sense of an achievement. And I think we will as soon as, because today felt like that. The atmosphere was good. We celebrated that second goal. like it was still a big goal. It wasn't like your run-of-the-mill late goals to just wrap up a league game.
Yeah.
It felt like, right, that's it, game job done, and both goals were celebrated really well. So yeah, I think that's important, and it'll keep the players focused as well. And yeah, looking forward to it. It's an exciting end to the season. Now you've got the Derby game next week, which we're obviously going to want to put them back in their place, and then you've got the cup and then the league to clinch as well. So exciting times.
So just to add to, I think what Asim and I are both saying is that you're entitled and you don't remember the 90s.
I don't remember the 90s, I must say. I remember nothing about the 90s, actually. Probably a good thing. Yeah, I think it's going to be good going forward, because the semi and the final, if we get there as well, I think are fair chance you're talking Aberdeen Hearts or Hearts Aberdeen, or at least obviously one of them. If we get to the final, you're thinking it'll be Aberdeen or Hearts, and those are going to be big games, and they're going to feel like today they're going to have big, the final will probably be a 50-50 split the way it's going, and can't wait for it. And we've got a big game on Sunday as well, guys, the Derby, so we can build ahead to that one as the week goes on. But for now, we will head. Thank you. Get off to bed, guys. You're 11:15, so I appreciate your sacrifices. And appreciate all of you watching, and those of you who listen on the podcast. We've got nearly 1,000 people listening to the podcast every day now. If you've not yet checked it out, just search Celtic AM on your chosen podcast platform. Let us know what you made of the game, and I'll return tomorrow to chat a bit more.